Hi guys, so great to talk to you today. And John, this show is bringing the How to Train Your Dragon universe into a modern day setting. And I would love to know what you can tell us about the inspiration for that and the process of getting this show into production.
Well, DreamWorks was thinking about what we wanted to do with the franchise, and they decided that they thought it would be exciting to bring it into the modern world, and they approached me to be a part of it, which I jumped at because I absolutely adore the franchise. I was on Race to the Edge Dragon show, and I was on the Rescue Riders Dragon show, so I fell in love with the franchise through all of those years of work. So I was biting at the bit to jump into this one and to do a different take, a modern day take. And one of the themes that we wanted to hit on is the difference between Viking kids and modern day kids, and how themes like climate change and animal rights, could be a part of this show, because that's on the minds of modern day kids than wasn't necessarily on the minds of kids in the Viking era, because it was a much different time. At the same time, we wanted to maintain the heart and soul of the franchise, which is about telling human stories. It doesn't matter if you're a Viking or you're a modern day kid, you still go through the same coming of age type of themes. And so it was really balancing old and new as we approach this one.
Thank you so much.
I haven't seen Rachel. She's still struggling. So we're going to leapfrog over Cammie Allen. She's from the Mama Diaries, and she's out of Rhode Island.
Hi, John. Hi, Marcus. Thank you so much for taking your time to speak with us today. My family and I have been huge fans of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise since the very beginning. So I was thrilled about this series. Marcus, I love your character as D'Angelo. My first impression of him when he came on the screen, I was like, oh my gosh, he has so much energy, and I loved that. Can you tell me, are you able to relate to D'Angelo's character?
I feel like at certain levels, for sure, I can relate to D'Angelo. I feel like me and him, we care a lot about the people around us and want to uplift people as much as possible. At the same time, D'Angelo is a lot better at sticking to schedule and following rules than I am. So I like to cause a little bit of mischief. I don't like things to stay too settled. But at the same time, D'Angelo and me, we definitely, I think we charge into the face of challenge, and we try to bring other people with us.
Thank you.
Next up is Heather. She is from Pink Ninja Blogger, and she's out of Indiana.
Hoosier.
Oh, Heather, there you go.
But I'm actually from Ohio, so it's it counts differently.
Fair enough.
Good afternoon or good morning where you all are. Marcus, my first question is for you. I know that you have done work, well, obviously with Blackish, and you've also done other animated work. I was at your premiere for The Good Dinosaur. So I was just wondering how this role is clearly different, but what have you been able to do in this role that is different from other animated work?
First off, I was so excited. I've always been a fan of the How to Train Your Dragon series, but also I've been a fan of just dragons in general. So getting to have my own dragon, dream come true. And then Plowhorn met all of those expectations. So that was like one of the coolest parts was getting to see the animations of all the different dragons and discovering that. And I think that one thing that differentiates Dragons and Nine Realms from some of the other animated projects that I've done is the heart and the relationship that these characters share with each other is something that I've never experienced before. It's just like, it's on a different level. And then being able to connect with animals / dragons in this way is also really cool. As you mentioned in The Good Dinosaur, I played a lizard, but now I get to own a lizard, which is like really cool. So
Thank you.
Next up is Kristen. She's from Gen Y Mama, and she's also from Ohio.
Hi, John and Marcus. Thank you for having us here today to discuss the new series. It's very exciting. John, I had a question for you. Now, in looking at the poster that was released, I see some resemblance in coloring to our new dragon, to maybe Toothless and Light Fury, or the audience is supposed to think that maybe this new dragon is a relative of these dragons that we know already previously. Am I making a leap there?
Well, you're not making a huge leap. Whenever you go into a show that has such a storied history, I mean, you look for ways to make a new iteration feel familiar and feel like it's cut from the same cloth as the previous, so that it doesn't feel like, a complete departure in visual language or in tone. So, we wanted to steer into some of the tried and true tropes of the franchise as we brought this new group of characters and new stories forward. So, I would keep your eyes, just keep your eyes open for those types of connections.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, we've got Rachel Berry. She's from Pretty and Baby Food, and she's located out of Maryland.
Hi, thanks for having me on today. I was screening the show with my kids, and they were so giddy because they loved How to Train Your Dragon and they've missed it. And they totally get the same feel as this show. I mean, once the dragons started flying around, they were all like, yes, like they couldn't contain their excitement. And they loved seeing those little itty bitty connections, like sheep and comments that the characters make from like the movies and stuff like that. So is the show like 1,300 years in the future from that show, or did you just put them in there just to get them connected?
There is a connection. I will say that. I know that's not much of an answer.
Kind of ominous.
So more will come through as more is released and shown. That's just my kids. The moment that they saw Thunder, that was their biggest connection. And then like my 6-year-old was like, oh, that's Toothless Kid. I just know it. And she has that in her mind that is now, who it is.
Well, it is the same universe, if that answers your question.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good way to put it. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel.
Amy Fulcher, you're back up.
Okay, so Marcus, D'Angelo is a very kind of regimented, by the rules guy. Wondering how similar you are to D'Angelo, or if you would be jumping right into that fissure the second you had a chance.
I think honestly, I feel like I have some similarities to D'Angelo, but you're kind of right. I probably would just send it straight into the fissure immediately. But D'Angelo is smarter than me for that exact reason. He likes to follow the rules, and sometimes following the rules is definitely a good thing. Yeah, I think I wouldn't be so I wouldn't have so much self-control. I'd be like, I need to discover all the dragons ASAP. I'm gonna become best friends. We're gonna start a freaking gang. We're gonna have the best time. And when I say gang, I mean like friendship gang. We're not doing any bad activity. No bad activity.
Got it. Just the Dragon Squad.
Yeah, the squad, the club. Yeah, exactly. That's probably a better word. I'm gonna stop using gang.
Thank you.
Hey, Ellen, you're back up.
Okay, so I'm a mom of 2 boys, and I loved the relationship between Tom and Olivia. I feel you don't often get that type of relationship, a mother-son relationship on screen as much as you do with daughters. And so I really liked seeing that. John, can you tell us if that storyline, like if it was inspired by something or how you came up with it?
Well, I am a son and I have a mother. And we are very, very tight. When we entered into figuring out these characters and their relationships, in the previous show, Hiccup and his father Stoic had an adversarial relationship. You know, it was a tough relationship between a tough father and a son who had a different way of doing things. And as I looked at this show, I really wanted Tom and Olivia to have a really close relationship. You know, they've traveled around the world together, you know, arm in arm basically, and adventured all around. And I wanted them to be very close, which is why it's difficult for Tom to keep the secret from his mother, because he wants to tell her and he trusts his mother, but he doesn't necessarily trust the company that she's working for. And so that thrusts him into this, you know, difficult pull, you know, of how much do I say, because as much as I love and trust my mom, she's surrounded by people that I do not trust. And so I felt like that created a fun dynamic
Absolutely.
With their relationship, and also the tough spot that Tom is placed in.
Thank you. I love that.
Heather, you're back up.
Okay, this question is for John. Clearly the franchise, How to Train Your Dragon franchise, is extremely popular. Can you talk a little bit about some of the pressures that you've had to face as you're bringing this franchise and taking it into a new direction?
You're right. It is a crown jewel of DreamWorks, and I felt honored to be brought in to shepherd it along, because it is such a storied franchise. I don't know that I feel pressure as much as an obligation to deliver to the fans and to the studio something. I mean, I know that we love what we're doing, and I hope, you know, all of us hope that the legacy fans from the previous will embrace it as much as I think, as I hope that they do, and the message that I'm trying to send to them, because, you know, if I look online, I could see there's people that are a little concerned. Oh, this is different. It's different. I just hope that they know that I love the franchise as much as they do, and I'm treating it with the respect and love that I think it deserves, so that it feels like you're wearing an old comfortable sweater, even though it's not the sweater you used to have. You could still enjoy it and still get the same emotional feeling that comes out of it, because it's coming from all of our hearts.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Kristen, you're back up.
Thanks, bud.
Okay, so my second question will be for Marcus. Marcus, I know you're no stranger to voicing characters, but do you have any challenges when you're in the audio booth with not being able to be on set with the cast, or do you prefer to be in the audio booth and voice characters? Like, how is that process for you?
I think it's honestly a really exciting opportunity, because, you know, during my day job, I will say, you know, like on Blackish and stuff like that, I'm like, you know, it's fun being on set with everybody and getting to, you know, use my face and yada, yada, yada. But I feel like there's definitely certain constraints that are put on you. In that kind of world, in the voiceover booth, it feels like a much more collaborative process and a collaborative effort. We're all working towards the same goal, but at the same time, our ideas may be different, but those different ideas come together to create something beautiful, and you know, steel sharpens steel. I think that's the quote, so something like that. Yeah, it's really nice being in the voiceover booth and just getting to riff on how I think D'Angelo would react in a certain situation, or how he would, I think he would sound running away from a dragon or whatever ends up happening. So yeah, it's a really fun, creative process. Not that live action, but voiceover definitely takes it up a notch to another level.
Very cool. Thank you.
Amy Fulcher, you're back up.
So I have to ask you both. I hope you don't mind if I get super serious, but I need to know from both of you, what would you name your dragon and why?
Ooh. Oh boy.
That was going to be a stumper.
Well, I have a cat named Friday.
That's sick.
So maybe I guess I would name my dragon Saturday. Then off we could go together, the three of
That
us.
sounds really cool. That's a dope name. I'm like a bit of an edgelord, so like I love like really cool stuff. Like honestly, if I had a dragon, I'd probably do something like Thunder. Is like a super cool name to me, but I think I normally name after anime characters. So like, well, at least with my cars, that's what I've done. My dogs, we do like Greek and Norse mythology. So I guess I'd do like Luna for, you know, like if it was a female dragon, moon goddess. So
It's nice.
yeah.
Saturday and Luna. I love it for both.
Cami, you're back up.
Okay, so Dragons was produced during a pandemic, and I was wondering if there were any challenges that you guys faced, you know, throughout production because of the pandemic, or if there were any advantages of working remotely.
I mean, challenges absolutely across the board. I'm trying to think if there are any positives
I was gonna say the same.
coming out of it.
It's like, I don't know, a single positive, but we made it work. So
Yeah, I mean, professionally, I don't think that there were a whole lot of positives with being separated. As creatives, you know, we like to be together. We like to be in the same room. Personally, with all of the awful things that have come along with this pandemic, the one silver lining for me was getting to spend, you know, a year with my kids that I probably wouldn't have had because they would have been off in the world and I would have been off in the world. And so as bad as it's been, if there's any silver lining, there's an extra year of time that I spent with my kids that I probably would have never had.
I got to hang out with my dog.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Heather, you're back up.
My couch is creaking. I'm sorry, y'all. This is a hotel couch.
Okay, so without giving too much away, I'm hoping both of you can answer this. Are there any nuggets that you can provide about what we should expect from the series, or if there's kind of like a direction that you would like the series to go in? So not any spoilers, just a few nuggets.
That's hard. That's hard because we are, you know, we are under spoiler alert. You know, it's so that's a tough one to answer, Heather. But I would say that my hope is that all of the twists and turns in the series resonate with the audience and that everyone enjoys the ride.
I'm also excited for everybody to see all the different kinds of crazy dragons that John has been able to come up with, and hopefully some familiar faces. Am I allowed to say that? I'm gonna say it.
I doubt it.
And they just cut the interview.
Yeah, PR is like descending on us immediately.
Nope.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kristen, NY Mama, you're back up.
Okay, now, John, we're bringing the story into the future. Did you have any trouble, or was there any kind of challenges in creating the story being in the modern world? I mean, even like the coloring of the animation, like things that you had to update, you had to change. What was that process like?
It was interesting. Yeah, it was interesting. We have an amazing art director named Nadia who took so much inspiration from the films. And so the challenge was to use a similar design language as the previous iterations, but bring it into a modern setting. And so in terms of characters, we looked at some of the proportions on the characters. You know, characters in our show have in our franchise, in our world, have pretty large feet, you know, and so it was like, okay, well, you know, so we'll match kind of the oversized feet a little bit. And so, you know, we look to give hints and nods to the design language so it would feel like a cohesive language. And then we also looked at ways of incorporating wood and more organic building materials into our modern day sets to harken back to Burke and how Burke was all wood. And so we try to incorporate some of that wood and organic work into the sets. Sure.
Rachel, Barry, you're back up.
So this question is for you, John. Of course, the dragons is the first word in the name. And my kids absolutely love them, like I said. So what was the design process behind them? Because you guys ended up matching some of the dragons to the main characters, and it was done so well. So what was the design process behind the dragons?
Well, again, we have this incredible art team led by our art director, Nadia. And it's always a challenge when you take a show and then you move it into the future to have it feel new and fresh, but also harken back. There was also discussion about expanding the language on the dragons a little bit. If you see our character of June, her dragon is inspired by Chinese dragons. And so there was an idea with the two-headed dragon to lean into a Chinese inspired design. And so I think that when we got into the modern world, that brings with it modern sensibilities. And so we look to not capitalize, but to expand the language by through those decisions.
You guys did a fantastic job. They're beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel. Amy Fulcher, you're back up.
I don't want to get you guys in trouble with your bosses. I know you have to be careful of spoilers, but I'd love to know from each of you, what are you most excited for the audiences to finally see when the show starts streaming?
Go for it, Marcus. What are you excited about?
Okay. I feel like I'm most excited for the audience to see. I think one of the things that our show does best is displaying a sense of adventure and grandiose and scale. And we're really scaling the world up and adding new things. There's going to be some similar things to the original source material. So I'm excited for the audience to join us on this adventure and kind of discover more about the lore that you may not have known. I'm a big lore geek, so all those little itty bitty nitty gritty details that made the original show. So I mean, the original movie and books and shows and all of that came with it so successful.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited for the audience to get another dose of dragons, and I'm hopeful that they spark to it the way that internally we all have.
Thank you so much.
Cami, you're up next.
There we go. Okay, I would love to know from both of you which dragon is your favorite from the series.
Well, I'm going to jump in and just say that I love Thunder. I feel like Thunder is it's impossible for Legacy fans to not put Thunder and Toothless up next to each other. But I've grown to love Thunder so much, and I think that Thunder and Toothless are neck and neck for me now. And so I'm excited for the audience to meet Thunder and to see just how playful and fun the dragon is.
I relate D'Angelo's connection with Plowhorn to my own connection with my dog Odin. So I just see so much lovability in that, and she's definitely strong and assertive, but at the same time a heart of gold. And she looks super sick. I mean, you got a freaking giant gym tusk. Like, what else do you need? I love Plowhorn.
Thank you, guys.
Sure.
Heather, you're up next.
Okay, so tough question. If we all had a dragon in our house, do you think the world would be a better place?
Yes.
Probably.
Probably. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think one of the beautiful things about the show is kind of the way that John and the writers team kind of effortlessly weaved the real world relation between animals in our world to dragons, and that relationship and bond that you can share with a pet, whether that be it is your dog. So like I feel like if more people had dogs in their homes, we'd have a lot better world. So it's definitely a very yeah, the world would be freaking dope, and we'd be able to fly everywhere, and we'd have freaking sick guardians. It'd be dope.
There'd be a lot
No
less
more traffic.
Yeah, no more traffic and a lot less home invasions.
Yeah, exactly. Home
That's
invasion,
true.
just done.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Kristen, you're back up.
Okay. So, Marcus, now if you're given the opportunity, if we lived in a world with dragons, would you be ready to just like hop on a dragon's back and like go take a flight? Or would you be like, I don't know, I think I'll stay on the ground?
I would full send it immediately. I like literally wouldn't even have to know the dragon. I'm just hopping on the back of the dragon and ready to freaking ride. I definitely think I would make a dragon homie for sure. And the cool part about dragons, I feel like it's less of an ownership thing, and it's more of a mutual bond. Like neither one of us is above the other. It's kind of we're both. It's like your best friend kind of situation, just like dogs. So I think immediately I would try to find myself a dragon and bond with them. I don't care what they look like, what their skills are. I'm going for them, and that's going to be my homie for life. And they're going to have to listen to all my stories and hang out with me all the time. Like a built-in friend.
Yeah. Awesome.
We're going to wrap up this group. Well, Rachel Berry, Pretty and Baby Food.
So this question is for Marcus. You have starred in some of my kids' favorite TV shows, most recently She-Ra, the Princess of Power. And in Dragons, Nine Realms, I believe it's Kristen John who voices Hordak, who is your dad?
Yeah.
So
Hordak
my question is,
my
how
dad.
does that make you feel? Because you were both in She-Ra. And then what was it about the show that just made you want to work on it? And how much do you love your dragon?
Oh my God, my love for my dragon goes deeper than any audience member could know. I love Plowhorn so much. That's my girl. Every time I'm in the booth, I'm like shadow petting her. Like anytime I say a line to Plowhorn, this is immediately what my hand is doing, and it just helps me get in that zone. And then having Hordak for a dad is pretty sick. Keston's voice, he has the best voice I've ever heard in my entire life. Like I wish I could take his vocal cords and string them into my, a little violent, but otherwise I wish I could have Keston's voice, and him playing Phil is just like a dream come true. That's my dad now. I rock with him. Sorry, there was three. There was one other thing that you had asked.
What just made you want to work on the show, other than that it's super cool and it has dragons?
I mean, just getting to be a part of a story that like John has spoken to before, really talks about family and that interconnectedness that we all have. I feel like we've all been going through. We've had some hard times recently, and it's nice to have something that really illustrates how closely connected we really all are. And how we can build those relationships out through trust and through adventure and exploration and learning new things together. And I think if we all approach the world with that kind of mindset, it would be a better place. So that's what made me want to join Dragons, the Nine Realms.
Amazing. Well, it's a fantastic show, and I cannot wait for everybody to watch it. Thank you so much.
I'm so hyped for everybody to see it.
Thank you.